Greetings, greetings. I also need to check if everything's all right. Okay, yeah, it seems fine. Uh yeah, so like let's actually start building it today. I mean, it won't be just like code. I know it's the weekend, a lot of people don't actually show up, and someone did tell me that hey, I tuned into the stream much later, like hours of recording. And I was like, it's fine. Because it's all on the weekend. Let's actually open up Shopify wishlist app, Next.js. I'm so used to of a triple screen setup that doing dual screen kind of gets in the way. Oh yeah, I need to set up a new app. Let's call it wishlist app. The only reason I don't want to show like the secrets and all, so I'm just kind of like quickly setting up the app in the background. What I also want to do, I think, yeah, I mean, like, it's not that big of a deal. Y'all can see what I'm doing. Open source, open source wishlist app. Let's just call it live wishlist. I hope this doesn't get taken or something. US test store cp minus r dot env. And we also need to open the repository and discard these changes. All right, run. Did I install everything is another question. Also, let's keep it as a public app. I'm not going to be pushing this out as a public app, but doing this means we have access to run cloud layer. Uh, Doing this means we have access to the entire thing as a for billing API and all of that stuff. It just makes sense to kind of have it. Uh, so that's there. I'm gonna be running, running a local instance, so it's just that. I know it's not exposed. Now we can do bun run pg create, bun run pg start, bun x prisma db push. Yep, and that should have me a database. Yep, everything's done and working fine. Clear bun run dev. Shuffle, did you see that coming? 18, honestly, it was bound to happen eventually at some point of time. Like, if you're looking at any sort of a decent e-commerce platform, it's Shopify. Uh, Invalid? Shopify API scopes. What's invalid about it? Authenticated, write underscore customers, which is a thing, read underscore products, which is also a thing. Why is it showing me invalid? Run, update, config. Yeah, no issues here. So why do I have invalid config? Actually, what I should do is I should make a new store. Hold on. This way I can actually open up the access to store to everyone, and people can mess around there, create a development store. Hmm. Store, open source wishlist app store. Let's get checkout and customer account extensibility, start with test data, and create the store here. Oh, yeah, it's also gonna expose my email eventually. Oh, it did not. I am self-penalized. Mm-hmm. Okay, for customer data, I need to file the thing in my partner account. Okay. Uh, API access, request this. It's tedious. And also you only need to fill up, I think the first one, you don't have to fill up the second one, not store management. I mean, we're not never submitting this app anyways, so like it doesn't matter what I choose. Now I'll have access to everything. This is there. Page use index. I can just, you know, create new page, index. Let's just call it index. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, if this is not visible, let me know. I'll make changes to make sure that it is visible. Variant 1/2. Repo. It's software wishlist live apps. Okay. On click window dot open github.com/king/Shopify wishlist live app. Uh, and the target is black. Yep. Do I have an external icon? But wait, this doesn't add in an icon. That's weird. Polaris icons, external icon. Yep, okay, this is better. Uh, but do we want a dashboard like this? Uh, let's just call it info. Let debug cards be in here. Let's call this page info. So that this is set up in a different way. Info.jsx. Create new page. Info page. Why do I not use the app router? It sucks. It's everything that's wrong with the ecosystem, and it's just too much hassle. Like, I don't want to be worried about, oh, hey, this is a thing. Like, just no. What? What did I mess up? Oh, so we can call this dashboard. We can remove this entire thing off of your. Actually, I need the cards. Also, Pages Router is just much more convenient. I can't go in and create like 200 separate folders for each. Like, that's what I hate about remix routing. Yeah. It's just like folders and folders and folders, or if not, it's files and files and files and like home.info dot a dot b dot c dot 3 dot e dot route. I'm like, please. The reason why I like Pages is it's convenient, it's CSR. So just like Mark Zuckerberg actually intended. Actually, I need to put this in here. Uh, and yeah, it's just classic JavaScript. I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. I don't have to worry about, hey, hydration issues. Like, no, I don't want to deal with any of that. Okay, for our dashboard, what all stuff do we need here? Actually, let's just make a list of items that I want to put in. Let's put in some analytics. Let's put in a setup block to ensure merchant sets up the theme extension. This is a necessary one. Uh, let's put that first. Analytics we can do later. For analytics, we need Polaris Viz. And it's going to be like very basic analytics. I'm not going to be spending too much time into it. Well, how Zuckerberg intended. React is a Facebook repository, dude. React was built by Facebook. That was the entire reference. Uh, what do you need in a, yep, search wish list? No. See how many, see which customer has wish listed a certain product. See, okay, so this needs two views, right? Let's make a new list. Uh, Click on product to see customers who wish listed it. Click on customer to see what products they wish listed. Yep. I think there's nothing more you can do with the dashboard, yeah? So actually see what was not to do. Okay, allow customers to create one or multiple wish list. Merchant see what correct. Wish list endpoints, skedaddle skedoodle, analytics is done. No guest wish list later. Huh, restock alert. Okay. This feels like so long, I've already forgotten half the stuff. Okay, let's get into Shopify.js and create some webhooks. What webhook would we set up though? We would need orders create and orders update. Hook, orders.js, create webhook, orders, handler, whoops, orders updated. Console.log, webhook body. This becomes orders handler. Cool. So our webhook is done. By the way, if you don't just understand what I did in my repositories, all you have to do is in your Shopify.js add in this entry and then create your webhook in here in the webhooks folder. So what ends up happening is this is your webhook topics, yeah? Uh, so you can see the only switch case you have is for app uninstalled. And lo and behold, when you run update config, which actually, oh yeah, cd next. When you run update config, what actually happens is it actually creates this for you, and your toml is also updated so that now those orders create and orders update webhooks are also set up. So essentially, at any given point of time, you only go to shopware.js and you add in your stuff, and for like create a function to handle it. Also, if you want to create this, what's going to happen is you're going to have to remember a lot of this BS. What I did was I have snippets in here that you can just be like, hey, create webhook. You can name it orders handler, right? Hit tab and then be like orders update. And this actually now refers to uh, this. So what I've done is I've actually pulled all of the webhooks and created this huge JS docs file that contains all of the stuff. And so webhooks body is now literally like giving you IntelliSense. It's not completely accurate, the types, but it's accurate enough to kind of get the job done. So I don't have to look into what the entire thing is. And so you're almost always looking at like bam, 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 getting things done very quickly because you don't now have to worry about a lot of these things. And also these things are also added in. So tomorrow when I have to filter it, I can be like tag equals like I don't know wish list or something. That has been also updated. So we'll look more into webhooks later. But right now the idea is like I'm just laying up some groundwork so I remember what needs to be done and why we are doing it because I know for a fact I'm gonna forget it. Uh, let's see. Orders create and update webhooks. So if a new order comes in with line item attribute of I don't know wish list, that means the product was in customer's wish list. Uh, Remove it from wish list and what do? We remove it from the wish list and what do we do then? And add it to analytics. Okay, now that we have this, let's actually start writing a schema. So this one's gonna be Postgre. Was it gonna be doing Postgre with this or so Next.js is gonna be MySQL. Okay. So the one thing about send notification to customer, I mean, we'll just like add in a function that console logs it. I don't want to go through the whole process of setting up like loops or SendGrid right now. I'll just leave it as a function so you can set it up yourself if you want to. Uh, and that function will be triggered whenever you actually want to send an email. So you can actually use it, in a proper space. So I would call it model wishlist, ID string, ID, default UUID, and you're going to use version 7. Hmm. So think about it this way. We're storing the exact same data and it needs to be interlinked. Hmm. So this could be model products actually. Don't make that default. This becomes the variant ID. If you want to go variant ID, we can go product ID here. But then this doesn't become, oh my God, no. Yes? So what's going on in my head is if it's unique enough, or not, it is unique enough. We can call it variant ID. This is a string that we actually need. So this would then refer to a model which is customer, uh, customer ID as we know in Shopify. So this is going to be unique. Uh, we are also storing their name. Now, don't not encrypt it because this is PII. So we're just going to add in PII here. Or the way I like to do it is this. Let's also store their email so we can actually send them an email if we want to. Be like, hey, these 50 people, send them an email that this product is back in stock. This is also going to be convenient later on. So you have the customer's name, you have this here, and then you have housekeeping, which I like to call baseline, which is created at, which is a date time, which is defaults to now, and updated at, which is again a date time, and it's of type updated at. These are Prisma specific natives, and this kind of takes care of PII stands for personally identifiable information. Okay, so that's what PII is for. I think you use the term everywhere. Like you see Shopify using this term, it's like, hey, okay, no, this is by someone else. But yep, see, personally identifiable information, it's a standard term. So I'm not kind of making up terms. I was just like, I'm making this up. Like, no. Now the fun thing about creating relations in Prisma, it's easier than doing it in real life. You just kind of define it. Yeah, we also need baselines here, right? And what you then kind of do is, oh God, I messed that up. What you do here is you do relationships. Oh God, this is a bad idea. So I can just go products, and in here I can go, God, my bad. This would be customers. Actually, let's make it plural. I don't know why I'm not uh, products. Okay. And now all you have to do is Bunex Prisma format. What this is gonna do is it's gonna look in the schema and it's gonna be like, hey, this is a thing. Oh, I'm in the wrong repository. Bunex Prisma format. It's gonna, oh wait, yeah, this is not actually required. And because we are in MySQL, relationship mode has to be Prisma and not foreign keys. This kind of changes a bunch of stuff, but now we also need to index things. Essentially, an index is what makes database faster. Like that's the simplest way I can kind of explain it. Right. So we're gonna index our IDs, our variant IDs, uh, also created at. But now the question is, why do you need updated at, right? You don't need updated at. Why would you need created at too? So wait, hold on. I'm confusing myself. Okay. So you have customers that has a two-way relationship with products. Okay. Now, a customer can have multiple products. Product data is stationary except for the customer's reference. Uh, for a customer, we need info on when they added a product to wish list, which stays in blank. Where do you actually host this information? And it needs to be, hmm, I might be completely wrong about it. But if I then think about it this way, no, that's an absolute mess up. So it might just end up being a one-way relationship instead of a two-way relationship. But then that also means that we are hosting the same product data multiple times. But then this also means that I can have a two-way relationship with a customer's product wish list that actually holds all of the intermittent data, which is then related to products. So all of the information about it is actually stored in wish list. Now the kind of data I can store is when they added to wish list, when they bought it. The difference of this would give me median time between adding to wish list and buying it. Uh, and some basic filtering is when this would be required. So I think this makes sense. So model wish list product, default UUID, a product. It has an ID, it has a variant ID. The this becomes default UUID. Uh, and then what's unique in the database, not index, what's unique in the database is the combination of product and variant ID, right? I don't need created at here. But then another question is why am I storing all of the product data in here in the first place? Like I could just store a baseline ID so that it's acceptable. I can store its product and variant ID, and I can just store its title. Like instead of overcomplicating it, this just makes sense, right? And then in here, I have the ID of the customer, so I can easily make calls on it. I have the name and email, which will be encrypted. Baseline, I need some information on when that customer is being messed with, or when was the last time they were active. and these are auto, so I'm just gonna let it be. And a customer can have multiple wish list products, right? But a certain wish list product can only be attached to one customer. See, this I just love this. Like, just hit it once and it's done. No foreign keys are used. Okay, dude, stop crying about it. Index ID. Yeah, but okay, hold on. Why are you doing this? This gets the job done. And in here, this is connected to a product, and a product can be connected to multiple wishlist products. Wait, but what is the problem if I just attach both of them to the ID though? Uh, ah, okay, main product. Yeah, okay, whatever, do it. Just call it product ID. But actually, this is wrong. So we're gonna call up on Claude. Uh, a product can have multiple wishlist product, and a customer can have multiple wishlist product, but a wishlist product can only have one customer and one product. Why can't I use ID in wishlist product as a field in both relationships? You were using ID's field, which is incorrect. In the relation, the fields specify which are current fields for reference the other model. Using ID for both the customer, which is okay. So our actual original one is what we need to do. Cool, 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 cool. Okay. Makes sense. I need the baselines on when it was created and when it was updated. This is gonna be so irritating. And then we also need to worry about friends, right? Model shared wish list. But there is also the, oh God, we've totally forgotten about the actual setup on wish list, which breaks this in. Oh my God. Okay. You know what? Let's just break it, I think. So let's start from scratch. You have a customer, you have a customer GID over here, you have their name, you have their email, right? And then you have wish lists, which has its own ID. it has a name and it is attached to a customer, right? And a customer can have multiple wish lists, right? But here I don't need this. I can just reference it ID to ID, index the ID, and I should be good to go. So this is there. And for each of the customer, what I can share code. Actually, no, this is a very different thing that we'll come to in a second. So now there are two ways to do this. One is I can just dump the entire JSON for the wishlist over here. But what we're going to do is we're going to keep the entire wishlist as a product model. Wishlist products, ID, string ID. Actually, let's call it product ID. Wi- No, that's a bad idea. I need to keep it ID default UUID. It's a better call to make. And so now each wishlist can have multiple wishlist products in here. But this thing can also have multiple, which makes sense. We can now go with product ID string. We can go with variant ID and a string. We can go with the title of the product, which is product's name, title, and variant title. And here we can go with default title. So if it's default title, we're just gonna ignore it. If I have to do what I want to do, that's gonna complicate the schema, and I'm not in the mood to go into that. So essentially, the whole idea is a wish list, all the products in a wish list. Uh, ooh, but then that would okay. So what's going on in my head is this: a customer can have multiple wish lists, right? And each wish list then has its own products. Now, a product can be in multiple wish lists. This is so we can reduce the amount of duplicate data that we have. But I was thinking that we could actually have another reference that actually stores the date time configuration of when it was added. But yeah, I mean, what the hell? Wish list, product data, ID string, ID default UUID, baselines. But your updated art doesn't make sense here, right? Because if it's datetime default now, index the ID now, this can only be attached to one, but a wishlist product can have wait. A one-to-one relationship must use depending on both sides or change relationship to one to many. On the defining side, unique. Bro, why would you not? That makes sense. Marketing will send a customer an email later on floor. It's been in a wish list for X days. Yup. Yup, 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 yup. But wait, I just added in the unique. Oh, I see what's missing up. Ah, you need a unique entry here. Your unique entry here. Oh, but that cannot reference it, right? So you need data ID. What have I just done? Get out with your login. Okay, let's see. Uh, Session stores, we don't touch those. This is something that we don't directly mess with. So you have a one-to-one relationship there. You have a one-to-one relationship. Mhm. And our customer gets all of this data, which is then, yeah, looks good to me. If this ends up being overcomplicated, then actually, let's just ask Claude. Why waste so much time? This is my Prisma schema. If I understand correctly, a customer can have multiple. Yeah, I'm coming to that, Tom. I'm coming to that. A customer can have multiple wish lists. A wish list can have multiple wish list products. Wish list products can only have one wish list product data. Is that correct? Give me a one-word answer. Mostly, what is wrong in one line? Oh, it's a one-to-one optional. I see. Yeah, but then this starts to cry about it. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to also define this here? This messes up. Yeah, you know what? Actually, like, Apart from that, the wishlist products can belong to multiple wishlists, not just one, which is intended. Correct. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. So we have this nailed down. Bunex, Prisma format. I'm pretty sure someone who has a better understanding of database structures is cringing at me, but in my defense, doing it live is a very different skill. I can't just sit here and ponder over those schema for like 200 years, trust me. And usually I would just like avoid a lot of things that I'm doing right now and like spend like 2 days on the schema. Okay, so customers, right? And now you're actually looking into, hey, Deep, how you gonna do the whole friendship thing? In order to do a friendship thing, a customer can have multiple customers attached to it. Can we do self-referencing? Field customer is already. Uh, how about friend? Yeah, I've never tried actually self-referencing. I thought this would be a good idea to try it out, but clearly it's a bad idea, so we're just gonna not do that. Uh, if you want to get customers who are attached to each other, you would look at that customer's friends, right? And so you would have a friendship ID that is specific to that customer. Uh, so you have main customer, which is a customer. And then you would have friends. You know what? Sometimes stupid is better. So here's what's gonna happen. If you link multiple customers together, there is a possibility that, so if customer A has shared with customer B and C, we do not want customer B to see customer C's data, right? So when a new customer is created, we manually create a new friend entry. But now you also need to store. The thing now becomes is, okay, you know what? Sometimes you just have to go stupid. As long as it works, it works. So we give it an ID, right? We give it a sending customer ID and we give it a receiving customer ID, right? And we add in a code which by default is a UUID of 7. No, UUID 9. Can you, I think you can only have 7, 5 and 7. So used bool and accepted bool. Baseline created at datetime, updated at default now, default updated at. Okay, now let's break down my genius, right? This stays as an independent setup. So essentially what's happening is when a new customer, no, when a customer sends an invite to another customer to uh, you to share their wish list, we create an entry here and send emails. Once accepted, we add the customer to their respective friend entry. Because if I keep on going all of the codes and setting up relationships, it's gonna end up being a little more complicated than what I'm comfortable with. See, it might seem stupid and it is bad database design. I am not gonna deny that. But like it works. So is it really stupid? So let's break it down, right? So the seamless session and stores kind of work independently. What I could do here is assign shop here both. This is an auto table, so we're not going to be looking too much into it. But essentially, what's happening here is uh, you have a customer, right? A customer. Oh yeah, it's just not gonna accept this week ID stuff. Open it up for me. Okay, so here is the thing. Yeah. So you have a customer, right? A customer can have multiple wish lists. Hmm. And these wish lists contain wishing products. And each product has its own product data, which is how we kind of figure out when it was created and all of that stuff, right? Now, why are we doing it this way? It's so that if I want to make a search for which customers have a certain variant in their wish list or a certain product in the wish list, I can make a call to wishlist product, get inside to wishlist, and get all the customers from there, right? Or I can get the count that way. So essentially, it's just like we're trying to kind of walk through each of these places as much as possible. Okay. Now, when it comes to sharing the wish list, right? We have an independent table that is just like, hey, uh, a customer, which is a sending customer, sent a request to the receiving customer. We are storing the GraphQL IDs in here, right? We don't care about the name or the emails or whatever it is. When we send the thing, we generate a random code, which is by default a UUID. It's fine. We can use nano ID or whatever it is here. Uh, if it's used, if it's accepted, that's what we're looking at. So essentially, if it's used, we don't need used. See, this is why you always visualize. Okay, so we don't have used anymore. So once this entry is created, that means we actually send the email. Accepted by default is a Boolean, which is no. So we are just like, hey, you know, not yet. and created and updated that. So it's just like if it was accepted, how do we then set up? Actually, no, this actually makes sense. You need to have a used thing. Uh, but this actually should have been status, right? And so you could have a new status in here, which is sent, accepted, rejected, right? So status becomes of type, and which is assuming that an email was sent, right? Every single time. Even though we're not sending any emails and we're just console logging it. So you now have status in here, right? Okay. So just like once we send, we keep the status in here. So it's like, hey, this code was sent, and if it was accepted, great. If it was rejected, false, and status as rejected. So essentially, what we can now do is we have a complete setup of when uh like if the status of it was accepted or rejected, and if it is rejected, you can't send it to the same customer again, or you can send it again. If I make this unique, we can't send it again, and it needs to be manually. So we don't want spam, right? So we're like, hey, you know what? You can only send it to one customer at once. And at any given point of time, we're never storing any unnecessary information like the customer's name, email, whatever it is. Whatever is happening, we pull from customer or we make a live call and then we pull it from there. This could be, this could backfire so badly, like this entire structure. But I'm willing to take the risk because I'm not spending like 3 days into setting this up. Now, the fun thing with Prisma is we are in MySQL mode right now, even though we're going to be using a Postgre database. So all of this is valid MySQL. But if I just move it over to Postgre, I can now Bunex Prisma DB. My actual database now gets updated with all of these new tables, right? And so what you would notice is this wish list products to wish lists doesn't exist here anywhere. What and but it shows up here too, right? What Prisma is doing is because our relationship mode is set to Prisma. Prisma is now handling all of these relationships. And so anything that's happening, it's Prisma that's working under the hood. That relationship technically does not exist, like that direct relationship. And so you would see tables which combine wishlist and wishlist products, uh, putting things together. So if you don't use a Novarum, it might be a little difficult to understand, but the good thing is this is your entire database schema, right? Bunex Prisma format, bun run pretty, git add, git commit, add db schema, webhooks, notes, git push. All right, now let's start messing up with the actual thing. What software am I using? This is Prismalizer. It's great, purely because I get to visualize my entire schema. Let's just paste this in here. Uh, and like seeing it visualized like this is like way more convenient than anything else. So just a very convenient way to kind of go in and be like, hey, this is how my schema really looks like. And yeah, the most irritating part is we need to kill Next.js and restart it because the way Prisma works is Prisma creates a new package called Prisma client, but this is all client side generated. So now we have access to all of the new schema that we just created. And for Postgre, just the standard client. For Postgre, just the standard client as in? So here's the thing, right? When we get into Postgre, you will understand how the schema would be a little bit different. Like it's not going to be wildly different, but you're going to see like we're not indexing this. Relationships are more straightforward and all of that stuff. And you're not using relationship mode Prisma. You're using foreign keys there. Uh, which is why uh, if you actually head into the to do, to do, sorry, you would see on Remix, we're going to be using Prisma with Postgre. On Next, we're using Prisma with MySQL. So essentially what I'm doing is Next with Prisma and MySQL because I really like Planet Scale. Uh, and I almost not almost exclusively. I exclusively use Planet Scale in production, and this is a MySQL database. It's actually running Vitess under the background, but the thing about Planet Scale is most people find it very expensive. It starts at 39 a month. If you want the cheapest one, you can switch it over to, I think Mumbai is cheaper. Yeah, it's 25. What about Singapore? Singapore is 47. Okay. So yeah, you're gonna be paying roughly like 40 a month, but this is so worth it because this is technically an enterprise database, it's not a regular database. Uh, and so what now ends up happening is uh, PlanetScale treats the entire database like a get branch. So if you were to like, I highly recommend you test out PlanetScale at least. What you're gonna realize is you do not even have a database to manage. Like it's just taken care of for you. Which is the entire reason why you see me kind of go gaga over this thing because it's just so damn convenient to build there. And let's actually variant full width. Let's put this in a banner tone as info, title as to do. So that is not taken care of. Hey, 995. Dude, that's what we're doing. So we're doing the app 3 times, so you actually get to see what an actual half decent app looks like. I'm not gonna say it's like it's oh hey it's proper production like this is about as close as you're getting to like seeing an app that actually works, but it's not that complicated, dude. Uh, yeah, we're gonna need this. Let's see, we need the where is the setup? Oh no, setup is the first one, literally. Okay, components, home, setup guide, component.jsx. Throw this in here. Setup guide.module.css. This is like, I love the work that uh, this guy's done on this. What's his name? Alex. So, dude, where is Alex? Okay, yeah. This guy, highly recommend, like, it's polariscomponents.com is his open source project. Highly recommend checking it out. Uh, really great guy. And of course, his tutorials are amazing too. So the great thing is we don't have to actually sit down and rebuild this entire component. It's done for us. It's very properly done. So I am not too worried about quite a lot of things. Let's just put that in there. Setup guide. Let's copy these. New state is going to be required. What else do you need? Yep. Import setup guide. Why is it called setup guide? It needs to be setup. Oh, no. Oh God, he's using this style. I hate this style. Export default setup guide comp. That's a minor irritation, but okay, setup guide component. And now what we can do is we can just copy this layout.section, setup guide component, and there you go. You have this entire thing built for you now. Hey, Aish, how you doing, mate? Let's see. Enable theme extension, skedaddle, skadoodle. You know how it be. Oh yeah, because this is not a. I hate. Like there are times that I'm just like, but no, he's not wrong in doing the way he's done things. Okay, I don't need this right now. On secondary button, actually, you can just be like, hey, you know what? Watch our video, Rickroll. So anyone who is not watching the stream will get Rickrolled because, of course, 30-second tutorial. Let's just be sneaky. Yep. Okay, so that's one done. Enable new account experience. Skedaddle. Skibidi. I don't know. I have way too much brain rot right now. Enabled. On action, let's just allow to like enable it. Sure, like that's what we'll go for. And translators, I don't think we need this. I think this is like enough. Also for Polaris components, I also need to add in a box here. Do Shopify have generated good revenue? Of course. I don't think you've actually seen like proper. Hmm. No. Padding block start. I need like 200 here. Text from Polaris. Tones subdued. Mm, and this needs to be a link. Yep. Actually, let's just take this entire thing. So it's very clear that this is taking you there. Uh, Alignment center. Yep. Okay, so credit where credit is due. We're gonna be picking up more elements. I'm not really worried. And see, it's just that convenient, honestly, at times. It's just like, "Hmm, let's not do that." So we should be able to mark this as complete and yep, dismissed it. Guide. Why is it taking everything away with it? Oh, that show guide. Okay. On dismiss, I don't want it to do anything at this point. Yep. Uh, so this can go away. Yeah. Try cursor dude, used it, it's shit. Let's just put it that way. Also if you have to use cursor, I mean, really do you really know your stuff? Like sure, even I use all of this stuff every now and then, but okay. Uh, what was I thinking for? Also, AI tools are great for like small stuff. You can't rely on them for like actual stuff in it. Uh, I actually tried the entire thing. It's just bad, dude. It's bad. I'd rather like take up like small chunks and use it here and there. Okay, wait. So yeah, now I need to create entry points. So pages API in apps, I am not doing anything right now for my oh yeah, I need to also set up a proxy route. Apps, wish list, run, update config. V0 is pretty nice. V0 is pretty nice. I used VO when it was in like limited beta. It was nice, without a doubt. Okay. Okay. I think its orders updated. Yeah, that's what the problem is. I mean, see, if you're using Shatsy and V0 is a nice way to kind of get a structure done. See, for most parts, AI is really good for debugging. Like right now, when I was like, hey, what about the schema? Why is this not working? It's great there, right? Because I just want to be like, hey, why is this not working? Give it to me straight. Anything outside of that, like scaffolding and all of that stuff, it's whatever, dude. Like if you know what you're doing, you're not gonna need it for most parts. But yeah, at times it's so goddamn convenient, dude. Is like yeah, sure. Like, do you want to see how an actual this thing is done? Okay, wait. Wish list, add product.js. You want to see like non-AI stuff? Create webhook. Oh, sorry. Create proxy. And this is like how you actually use snippets. See, wasn't that this thing? So all you have to do pretty much is kind of go in here, add in your snippets and skedaddle skedoodle. You're done. So if I want to create a new page, I can just like create new page and it's done for me. The problem is most people don't want to spend the time creating their snippet library, and that's what puts them in a lot of trouble sometimes. Okay, so in here, what I want to do is const Rect body equals request dot body. And I expect we're going to be adding in a bunch of stuff later. I'm just kind of creating rough endpoints so I have something to kind of go by. So I am expecting a product ID, a variant ID, and a customer ID. Now I can go into verify proxy actually, and we can also do console.log rec.query. Because I also want to see like what all stuff we are actually getting. I've totally forgotten about this thing. So there's that. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to hop on the store once it's like a little more settled, I am like, that's why we have created this new store. Let's just call it wishlist. So this is gonna be apps wishlist JSON. Come on, dude. Apps wishlist JSON. Yep, proxy be working. And so you see you have the login customer ID. And so now if I want to pass this, what I can do is rec.customer ID equals rec.query dot login customer ID. And so in here, what I can do is I can just do rec dot, what was the thing that I called it? Rec dot customer ID. You gotta go for a bit. That's all good, Tom. Thanks for joining in though. Right, so now this takes care of that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy like those two snippets. For create post and create get, because that just makes my life easier. Yep. And so when I get this, I wanna const write to data base equals await Prisma dot ooh, customer dot wishlist. So I also need a wishlist ID in here. Prisma dot customer dot upsort where ID is request dot customer ID. So this is where we get the customer's thing. Wishlist. What is this setup to? It won't let me write it to the ID because that is set up as a reference. Fuck's sake. Yeah, I've completely messed up on this schema. I'm gonna have to like bloody retract on this. You know what? Let's not create relationships right now. Story of my life. Uh, customer ID. Let's just call this a string. Index this. Wishlist product. Nah, I've completely cooked it. My brain has just stopped working right now. Remove this. Let's actually like declutter this entire thing. I completely messed up. I still want it to be connected to wish lists. But so now doing this, what? Let's just remove this entire thing from now. I don't need that right now. Okay. And so actually let's start adding things one by one. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up overcomplicating this so much. Where customers wish list where some customer, no, of course we know the customer ID name is default wish list. Now this makes sense because this could be is default is true. So we are where the ID is required for customer ID. And because this is an upsort, I don't have to worry about it. Where if that exists, update and in here would get my product. This can't be an ID. Medium. And you know what? Right now, let's just store this much. And this can be part of multiple wish lists. And a wishlist product can be in multiple places. So wishlists, update where ID is request.customer ID wishlist product update where actually no create. Okay, this is not the right. Where this becomes request dot product ID. This becomes yep. And if this doesn't happen, which means that we did not find any of the wish lists, or if that customer doesn't exist at all, which means we need to make this, need to also think about that. Wish lists, no, we know that this does not, uh, and for a second, oh, but it's reading from that. This is gonna testing this out of the, it's gonna have to be from this. Okay. Ensure, let's add a custom liquid block. Uh, so we're making a new post. Let's call it response. This has to be to apps slash wishlist, where the body is, what all do we need here? Don't need this. Flip this out. So I can skip that for this right now. Let's go to the same product. Dot JSON. ID is this. Just take the first variant in here. So we don't need this. Async function add to wishlist. This entire thing, we good to go. Button on click, add to wishlist. Now, I should technically be creating an entire extension and then testing it out, but I'd rather do it this way. It is just more convenient right now. That's kind of what I'm going for. Oh yeah, apps wishlist, add product actually. That is what I do wrong. Is the spelling correct? Seems correct. Oh God. Okay, Claude. Oh no, it is going. Yeah, because I am not. Huh, why is it a 404? Okay, I see what the problem is. It needs to be a double slash wishlist because our base route is slash wishlist. But how is it still not updated though? That's a question. Uh, what? This should actually hit the right endpoint now. I don't see why it's not hitting the right endpoint. It's still hitting the older endpoint, but this is updated. Let's call it adder instead. This would trigger us to be able to save. It's still a 404. Why are you a 404? It is set to post. API proxy route wishlist add product, which is correct. API proxy route. Oh, now it wants to. Oh my God. Okay. So it's just running a little behind, nothing else. And we have an error. Okay, cool. Argument ID is missing. Are we not creating the ID for wishlist product? Where did I go wrong? Yeah, we are not. So default UUID, one Prisma DB push, restart server, add to wishlist, new error, product ID. How is product ID missing though? Oh yeah, because I'm just request body. That should now solve this problem too. Yep, and this works. Now let's open the poster code to see like what actual thing has actually happened. Okay, so customer, we don't have this thing, but we also don't have the ID because, well, the customer ID technically does not exist right now. And so for now, it's just gonna be like this empty entry point, which is fine. That's what we expect. Now let's open up schema. A customer now has a wish list, so we expect a new wish list with default wish list. It is true. It is related to the actual customer ID, which is nice. Now this wish list should have wish list product, which is this and this. See, wasn't that difficult after all. So just to kind of double check this in here, let's add in random IDs. So let's make this 123 131 313, and let's make this 456 456 456. Hit save, right? And just so we know that it's the right this thing, let's just make it add to default wish list. So later on, what we're gonna do is when a customer kind of comes in, they have a new button that is like, hey, add to wish list, and then a tiny drop down on the side. So by hitting add to wish list, we add it to the default wish list. So that's like, hey, don't send a wishlist ID at all. But if we get a wishlist ID and if it exists for that user, we will add it to that specific this thing. So we know this is updated when it says add to default wishlist. Still not there, huh? Hard reload. How is it still not there? Okay. Wishlist. Did I not save it? Yeah, I mean, we expect an error here because a unique constraint would fail. But it's actually not trying to create a new customer, which is not what we want. Technically, it should still go through because this is an absurd. So this should actually trigger. So it can't actually find. Oh, this entire query needs to be rewritten because this only works once, which makes sense. Yep, trying to do it in one query would actually mess it up, and I'm overcomplicating this. So let's kind of cons wish lists for customer await prisma dot customer dot find many, where ID is request customer ID, right? And we select wish lists true. Let's hold this for a second here. Add to wish list. Okay, I'm not even console logging. Console.dir, wish list for customer, depth, null. To wish list. So we did find a customer with that customer ID. So, and it has wish lists, right? So if wish list for customers dot length is greater than one, that means we need to run a different query. Else, const create wish list, create default wish list for customer, await prisma dot wish list dot create. Actually, what I can do, no, prisma dot wish lists dot create data is default is true, name is default wish list, customer ID is request dot customer ID, and also not bigger than one is bigger than zero, right? But still, kind of let's hit it. So I can see what it's up to. This shouldn't fail technically. Yep, this was a 200. So I know this is working as expected. So now, if we don't find it, we kind of create it. And in this, what we also do is we know because it doesn't exist, we also create this all at once. Okay, so this means now we have actually added in. But if we see that it actually exists, const default wishlist equals wishlist dot wishlist dot wishlist, right? Oh my God. Why do I not have intelligence? This is weird. Not add to cart. Oh, I see why it's this is not wish. Oh my God. Why is the structure so complicated, unnecessary? I actually need to sit down and really think about it, and now we have two is defaults. Oh my God. But this was my mistake. I created it as to delete save changes. Okay, let's hit it again. Now you have one. To update equals empty console wish list. Oh, but then it goes ahead and creates hmm, wishlist dot wishlist dot find list where list dot is default is true. This becomes this, so now I can console wishlist to so this would give me, yep, this now gives me the one that I need. So now what I can do from here is now because I have this, I can update default wishlist equals await prisma dot wishlist dot because it already exists where id is wishlist to update dot id data wishlist product create product id and variant like body dot create. Actually this may or may not exist, right? So it's connect or create. Who expected relationships to be this? So now this should work. Okay, what if you break this? It requires one of the ID arguments, but if I were to take a look at this, because I'll never know what the actual ID is, given I want it to be that way. So I can do that to this, where oh, come on. It required, but I just gave you a unique entry point. Why can't you? Oh, correct, which makes sense. It never got updated. So if it finds this connection, it's gonna do that. But if it doesn't find that connection, now this should be a 200. Yep. So technically, at this point, I should still only have one entry. Wishlist is only one entry, which is expected. Wishlist product, again, just one entry. So I can hit it like a few times and it's all 200. It's not re-updating. Okay, this makes sense. Uh, Now let's complicate it even further. And now I'm gonna like directly hit it from the console because I don't want to this thing. My customer ID is taken up from there, so I'm not worried about it. But if I have a wishlist ID in here, just to kind of throw the curveball, so now you have an anonymous function that you can kind of trigger like this. Actually, this needs to now go into a try catch, otherwise I'm never gonna get a errors. I'm expecting this to break. Of course, it gives me a promise. But wait, it also gives me a 200. So how did it give me a 200 though? But that wishlist ID does not exist. Okay, we'll deal with this later. So it might have come here and it's like, hey, I found at least one wish list and it found this wish list to update is still blank, right? So this should have been just an empty. Oh, but it's actually okay, okay, okay. Right now it's just finding this, right? Oh, okay. So this actually should have been request dot wishlist ID. If this exists, I want, no, it should be like request body dot wishlist ID. If this exists, I want this to be request dot wishlist ID. Otherwise, I want it to be null. Okay. Now, if wishlist to update exists, I want list dot ID to be equal to wishlist to update. And just for this, I'm gonna stringify both of this and take it from there. So now technically this should break because it doesn't exist anymore. Correct. Because that ID just isn't there. Also, there should be. But wait, hold on. Wishlist underscore ID. So Also, this needs to stop crying about a lot of these things. Let's make it error. So I don't have this package screaming at me at all times. 1313. Where is the undefined? Okay, wishlist to update is coming as undefined, right? Because this does not exist. So if no wishlist to update, that means we did not find it, right? So return res.status as a 4 of 4 and send error, no wishlist found, right? Which is correct. But if we do find a wishlist, let's just copy this from here and then we make a paste. This should be a 200, which is correct. Okay. So now this makes sense. So this means you can actually add things to the wish list already. Okay. So for now, those of you who are still with me on this of like what we actually did, this is what's happening. Now let's break it down now that this is clear. Okay. So instead of kind of being like super smart with it, and be like, oh, hey, do this and do that and do this and do that. Like, doesn't matter. Let's keep it extremely simple. So, first to make a check if this is a post or not. So if it's not a post request saying like, hey, we don't actually serve this. Uh, I apply rec body to rec.body because that's just the thing that I like. First, what we do is we find all of the wish lists, all the customers. Okay. And then if wish lists are found, see if that wishlist ID is valid. Okay. Um, Else, create a new default wishlist. Okay. So essentially, what this is doing is it's like, hey, if you gave me an ID, I'm going to try to find that ID. If not, I'm going to define it as null. And so now when you have a default wishlist, right? Actually, this shouldn't be called default wishlist anymore. Let's just kind of keep it this way. So what we do is we then take a look at all of the wish list and we're like, hey, can we find this specific ID, right? And so if we can't find an ID, we're like, hey, you know what? This does not exist. Sorry, this thing happened. Otherwise, what we do is we take the wish list to update and we pass it on ahead. But is this accessible? Nah, the scoping doesn't allow it to be accessible. Now this is accessible. So it's just like, no, it is accessible. I was correct. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I can't make this big of a mistake. Okay. So if we don't find a wishlist to update, we are just like, hey, sorry, no wishlist was found. If we did find a wishlist that we need to update, this just then becomes wishlist to update, right? Right. Okay. And if we see, be like, hey, you know what? If this exists, it's okay. If not, just create it. That's fine with us. And if we don't, uh, yeah. And so if this is the entire thing, right? And so if we find no wish list for this customer, that means that it's a new customer that we now create a wish list for. So now it's like, hey, you know what? It's a default wish list. It's set to true. Here's the customer ID, and here is the entire thing for them, right? What you would also do is you would also actually wait. Yeah. What? we could do here is this await prisma.customer.create, because we're creating everything, right? Data ID would be rec.customer ID, because you know for a fact that nothing of this sort exists right now. Okay. Customer ID, and we can kind of get the name and email a little later. We'll get more into this in a while, right? And then the wish lists. And then we can be like, hey, you know what? This person doesn't have a wish list. We can just outright create it. Default wish list is default is true, and a wish list product. We know this doesn't exist either. So this is product ID variant ID, right? And so this can be removed. And so if we now also clean up our database, customers, oh God, I'm gonna have to go here and remove it, and then here and remove it, and then here and remove it, and here and remove it, right? So now we should have a clean slate. And now when I add it to the wish list, this is a 200, which is what we expect. What this is gonna do is it's gonna first create a customer. So if we head into customer, we see a customer. Well, technically you can't see it. Maybe I should actually give it a name. New customer. Actually, no, not logged in and not logged in. Yeah, let's actually delete this. Yeah. Let's hit it again. And so in your customers, you have not logged in and not logged in. We're gonna have to have the button kind of not do this. So we can also like directly reject, but right now we just want it to work, right? So a customer, so this is where we create the customer, and then for wish list, we create them a new wish list, which is the default wish list. Again, this customer ID is technically being passed on. It's just that we cannot see it technically just yet. And now this wish list needs to have a new product, which is this, right? Which is exactly what we are passing off of here. And the thing here is, but if I'm giving it a wish list, oh my God, technically this should throw an error. This should technically be an error. So what is it? It's not defined, right? So if it's not defined, oh, it actually is throwing a 404. This should also throw a 404. Okay, this makes sense why it's not throwing a 404 because we only make a check if that is there. So it doesn't matter if the first. Okay, now this will be a 404, which is correct. Yeah, so this is something that we need to handle on the front end. This makes sense. Okay. So if it does not exist, create a new one, which is fail-safe, which makes sense. So are multiple sessions that I should delete. Well, this was a roller coaster, uh, but I'm glad it's sorted out. Let's see. Let's copy this entire thing. Actually, do we need to copy this entire thing? Yeah. I need to just open up the app once, otherwise this is all gonna break. Oh yeah, also another thing that you would have noticed is they have removed the pin icon from the side, and it is now only on the top right to kind of keep the entire experience consistent. Why is this still a 403 when the session should technically now exist? ID is invalid. Expected string provided object. Okay, so this has to be a problem with the extension because this was working just fine. Yeah, if your wish list doesn't exist, but your wish list to okay, so it's actually giving you the default one, which makes sense. If no wish list is to update, this is fine. Ah, I see where this is messing up. I see where this is messing up now. Okay. Wishlist to update dot id. If this is exists, wishlist to update becomes wishlist dot id. Otherwise, is just stay that wishlist to update. So this has nothing to do with that. It just needs a little bit of restructuring here. Uh, to do rewrite this to make it simpler. What's happening? If it's default, it gives an object. If it's not default, it gives the ID as string. So now this takes care of the entire logic. So now this would be a 404 because that wishlist ID does not exist. But if I do this, this would actually work out as a 200. All right, so we can add things to the thing. We can add so in here, what I can do is I can just be like product.id, product dot what is the first selected variant liquid, product dot this. Okay. So now this, if it, you know, wants to work the way that it, like if liquid actually updates on time, if we're going to wish this product, I actually have a proper this thing. But this also, this needs to be a dot ID, not a product variable. Right? Hit refresh, add to wish list again, hit this, and now I have the actual ID in here. So the good thing is we now get the product's ID and its variant ID. We should also probably store its title, right? So that it's easier and a variant underscore title string, but here we can default it to default title, right? And so we can come in here, we can add in, let's just copy this, we just make it .html so we can have proper formatting. In here, we can have product, we can just do title actually. Title could be product.title, variant title here would be this dot title, and then format our liquid properly, throw this back in, hit save, come back here and update this to make sure that we actually take that to Punex Prisma delete push. Yep, we are fine with deleting data. Restart this. Although there is also a bunch of where clauses which I do not want to change. Title becomes reg body dot title. Variant title becomes reg body dot variant title. So this is on create. This also goes on create. Ideally, I would like make one object and like use it that way so I don't have to paste it multiple times. But this is like freehand testing out things. I don't really know what to call it right now. So add to wish list. That's 403. Create. I have created both the places. Prisma.customer.create and location. Yeah, I do have it here. Does it want me to like, oh, it's correct. Still a 403. Hmm. Network. Where is that network request? Add product payload. What are you sending? You're not. Oh, correct. This is just this thing not wanting to work properly. Okay. Did I hit save? I did hit save. It just doesn't want to function. Now this error is happening because the payload is wrong, which we are okay with. What I can do here, because I want to test it right now, is title, product title, and that got hit anyways. Okay, but yeah, this should now create a wishlist product with product title and default title. So that's all right. Git commit, git add up, add ability to save product, git push. All right, so that's where I'm gonna end the stream today. Uh, the other builds would be much faster purely because, like, right now we are figuring out like what needs to be done. Like, one of the bigger issues is actually getting the schema right. I think I'm gonna spend some time outside of stream to kind of really look into like what needs to be the actual schema because it's one thing to kind of code. The other thing is this. Alex, sorry, I completely missed your message. I was in top chat instead of live chat mode. That, oh wait, I think your message just came in. Why not AI autocomplete takes more time? I don't like it. Uh, sure, like at times it's really helpful, but it's very jarring for me. Like I can't concentrate. Like even streaming live and like writing code, it shuts my brain down for some reason. So it's just like I'd rather not use anything jarring. Yeah, it gets very annoying. Like that's why I use Claude and ChatGPT in their own context because I kind of want to open up a thing and be like, okay, now at this point of time, I want you to debug instead of being like, oh, hey, would you like this? But like, no, I actually do not like this, right? Uh, so that's the whole thing. Like, I want to be very straightforward, like, not have something break my flow of thought. Uh, and that's the whole thing. Shopify wishlist live apps. Also, by the way, if you guys want to check, the thing is there. You can actually see all of the commits that are happening. I might spend some time in doing all of this a little later. I'm not very sure what I want to do with this right now, but I'm certainly gonna sit down and rethink all of the schema. Not gonna lie. Because I really want to think about like what's actually happening and how everything's related. Otherwise, later on in search, we're going to have a lot of problems. Um, Also, one of the reasons why I'm not like canceling it out and not just using GPT is to also show like, hey, this is what's going on in my head when I'm building something. Uh, which even for me, right? Like I sometimes want to come back and look in my own streams and be like, what was wrong with my the way that I was thinking, right? And this is really helpful. And plus programming on stream also kind of forces me to think more clearly purely because it's very jarring to it's like someone's just like watching you like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And like, mm, you know, so that's there. And yeah, sorry, I'm just like browsing Twitter for some reason on the side, but anyways, I hope this was like the whole stream was helpful to at least a certain extent. Uh, I'm gonna go take a small break and then get to my actual work off stream so I can actually focus. Uh, and yeah. Also, if there's anything, let me know either on Twitter or in the comments, all of that stuff, standard stuff. I don't really know how to end streams anymore. But yeah, have a great weekend, y'all. I will see you guys later.